So Lewis Brown from Dunedin Airport, who will be talking about company sustainability and their update for 2024.
Michael? No? You good, Michael? Kia ora. Kia ora koutou, everyone. We're good? We're here? It's a real killer slot, isn't it, last before lunch? All right. Just find somewhere for this to go. You might have to help me here, mate. Thank you. So Dunedin Airport. Everyone probably flew through here to get here to Dunedin, if you're from elsewhere, and I'm sure locals know it well. So before I do a rapid dive into the energy side of the sustainability at the airport, just want to make a few notes. So first time someone in my role has come to speak like this, so thank you very much. And yeah, we look forward to deepening our association with the university and the Energy Research Centre over the coming years. And yeah, I thank all of you for being passionate, being energy experts, or for students being becoming energy experts. And I think the contribution that you're going to make to society is only going to get more important over the coming years. So thank you. So at the airport, 44 of us are there, and we're stewards of an intergenerational asset. So we've got a 2050 plan. So we've got something to work on for the next 25 years. We look through two lenses. The first one is an infrastructure provider lens, and the second is a bit more amorphous, but if you can get your heads around this, it's a provider of a space for short-term human experiences to occur for around 900,000 passengers per year, as well as longer-term direct experiences to our community of 400 or so. Yep. So if you drove through Dunedin, drove from the airport to Dunedin, you see a little village. So that's the airports, and you've got about 300 staff. Yep. So we've got 44, but the wider businesses who are part of the airport precinct. So that's a huge opportunity as well, right? It's not just about, let's say electrons going down the wires, but we've got hearts and minds that are part of this transition we're all part of. And beyond that, we're part of Dunedin Inc. Yeah. So I think there's a real piece of how we can work better with the university and other bigger organisations around the city, and we're DHCL company as well. So we're part owned by the DCC, and then we're part owned by Treasury. And for the next 15 minutes, it's probably about 12 now, what I want you to think about is how what we're doing might overlap with what you're doing. So it's less important sort of the things that I'm telling you about, but it's what I really want you to focus on is how that might overlap with your work. And yeah, you might be able to help us achieve our goals. We might be able to help you. Ideally, we have some nice overlaps. Cool. So you've probably seen this one here. So Simon Sinek, if you're not familiar, have a Google of him who came up with the model. But before you get dizzy from looking at the concentric circles, don't look too hard. But yeah, I want to give you some insight into our organisation's why, what, and how, and also into my brain as a bit of mine as a sustainability company man in 2024. So not a big part of our why. So planetary boundaries, Johan Rockström, if you're familiar with that work, we're currently flashing red on 6 out of 9 planetary boundaries. Those are the fundamental Earth biophysical systems that maintain a safe and accommodating space for humans. 6 out of 9. So I think the second thing, I guess from my own point of view, is the days of sustainability being about ringing the alarm, about long-term lofty ambitions, about the business case for sustainability. In my opinion, they're over. So our board, my boss, the CEO, Dan DeBono, they've got really clear expectations of what they want me to achieve and how we're going to deliver. So I think it's very different. The character of that work is very different to how it might have been 10 or 15 years ago. So a couple of things. Last 6 months, you'll see hundreds of climate disclosures out there in the public domain now. So enshrined in law from James Shaw's work with the Climate Change Act. You've even had the Company Act itself change in the last 12 months. So now there's actually a physical clause enshrined in law which says that directors need to be not only responsible in their duties for maximising profitability, but also for matters such as social and environmental matters. Big change. Okay, so a little bit about the why, the what and how. So I'll get into the what and how of sort of electrons flowing in the wires at some point, next couple of minutes. But yeah, the what and how in the airport in the big picture, considered one of Aotearoa's most sustainable airports. So sustainability, it's one of 4 strategic pillars. It overlaps with the 3 other strategic pillars as well, and we've got 3 foundations that overlaps with them, but it's business as usual is the point there. My role is to support existing previous efforts and visibility. So GNS Science Friend, we have a ground source heat pump already that's been there 10, 15 years. We need to get better at telling that story. But there's been lots of great stuff done at the airport before I've arrived, and so my role is to make that more visible and to support more of that to happen. But at the same time, it is a new corporate goal to have and a new function for the business, 60-year-old business. So there are some new stuff that need to happen. And yeah, I guess for me, the reason why I want to tell you about the materiality assessment is that it's a new role, it's a new function, and I think you've heard a lot of people talk about the risk of, chances of sort of fragmented, chaotic effort, in the space, unreasonable delays to act as part of this transition, and chances of missed opportunities. So for me, that materiality assessment that I'm working on at the moment is really important to, set up what we're doing, what do we have impacts on, what do we don't have impacts on, where are we going to get best bang for buck. So proud to say that here in Dunedin Airport, so we're one of the first organisations in New Zealand to use the Planetary Boundaries Framework to inform our sustainability strategy and our reporting framework. Super tough. What we've started doing is working with the DCC, who's been doing some work for the last couple of years on what's called downscaling these planetary boundaries to a regional level, to a city level, Dunedin City. It's quite good that it's actually quite a big area, and then going to the Taieri Plain or the valley, and then we start to see as an airport, what are we interacting with as part of those boundaries. So a good example is climate, right? That's a simple, good example to wrap your head into the model. So where we're going, okay, we've got a 46% reduction goal by 2030, okay, and we're 23% of our way towards that. So we're halfway point in terms of time, it's 2024 now, and we're halfway in terms of the number. And that's one of those boundaries that's red. So we might look at that as part of the materiality assessment and go, oh, 46% reduction, it's already red, maybe we need to increase our ambition there. So those are the sorts of conversations we're having, because we know we can do more than 46%. There's airports around the world who have reached 90%. So that's in your scope 1s and 2s. Cool. So where are we at now? What you'll see up on the screen, so this is where we're starting to, talk about energy and talk about electricity. I don't want to talk about the whole equation of energy, just want to focus on electrons down the wires. So we actually own about 290 hectares, in and around the airport. So you've got a dairy farm, you've got the runway, obviously, you've got the terminal building, you've got the car park, etc., and then you've got the 29 homes to the north. We've also got a wastewater treatment system. So because we're so rural and we have that lovely rural feel when you fly into the airport, but also we're outside of the DCC sort of catchment for urban services, so we've got to provide that ourselves. So you'd think that, oh, what a headache, we've got to sort of act like our own council. But in the energy space and sustainability, it's actually great because we've got sovereignty. We can probably make changes a bit quicker than other ways, and construction projects as well. Cool. So yeah, agree with Marcus's comment yesterday. We're making the invisible visible. So I think what he's talking about there is it's not only increasing the materiality of energy and electricity, but it's also making it visible to everyday people. So at the moment, like I said, you probably don't know there's a ground source heat pump out at the airport already. So in this space, a couple of things that we're doing. Replacing dozens of halogen lights out on the runway with LED this summer, LED lights in the terminal. Some have already been done. We want to get to 100%. It might be around 70-80% at the moment. Employed industrial electrician on staff to support further efficiencies, and electrified some of the fleet. Yep, so like Marcus said, cheapest energy is that which we don't use, and keen to make that more visible around the terminal. Manage and control our usage. So in that space, we've actually purchased the Airways electrical assets. So that's the control tower. So that's a pseudo-government organisation that sort of runs that, and they're one of our tenants. So we've said, okay, we'll take your assets from your balance sheet, put them on ours, and so that allows us to be able to do that work to upgrade all of those halogen bulbs with LEDs, and then finding an elegant IT dashboard provider. So anyone out there with a lovely dashboard that we see not just electricity but carbon and all the other metrics, that'd be great. And then third, working with ECA with AI to better tune our building management system. So already had a chat with Mark, used to be at the uni, about that. And accelerate renewables. So don't want to say too much about this. It's fairly early doors. But what we've started looking at there is a feasibility study of a large-scale solar farm out at the airport. I acknowledge there's some positive commentary about this kind of infrastructure as a no-brainer. I think New Plymouth Airport, they're constructing a 14-hectare, 2,000 home scale, $18 million solar farm. So they've turned soil, that's happening, and they're talking about a 7 or 8 year buyback. So we already know that here in Dunedin we've got about 75% of the sort of the power, so to speak, from the sun. But I guess I'm an open-minded cynic. We've got an open mind through that feasibility process, and we haven't made an investment decision yet. So watch the space. And back to our friend Simon Sinek. So the notes I wanted to give you here is that I guess like other organisations and business people, we often weigh and balance our efforts towards our goals. So sustainability is no different. So look at those, the why, the what and the how. We've taken you through some of the initial what and how for us at the airport in the energy space. And hopefully that's enough of an introduction to get to know who we are, what we're doing and how. We've got a great opportunity. We're setting our financial year 26 priorities over the next month. So that's the year starting July the 1st. And so, for those out there who can see opportunities to help us or we can help you, then the next month is a very rich time to be able to actually get those in the program and make them happen. Final thing, we just say thanks again. Michael and team, wonderful work, and what a great lineage of community and of meeting the same time or roughly the same month every year. And I think that kind of commitment to making things better, can't be overlooked. It's not easy work, I don't think, what we're doing. And I think having things like this we come back to every year, and you build community and you share ideas and solutions is super important. And I thank you again for the opportunity. Great.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Lewis. And thanks to all three speakers. We've got a tiny amount of time before lunch, and I don't want to stand in the way of some hungry people. But Michael, were there any questions online for either of the
Yes,
last two?
so there was one from Erin Pilcher. She wants to see your dashboard.
Brilliant. So I guess I'm not sure. Did I say that we had a dashboard? Yeah. So I would love to see it as well. Yeah, but I guess to give you, I can't. I'm not sure. I can answer the question by sorry. Is it Erin? Erin, sorry, Erin, we don't have a dashboard to show you, but we'd love to share it with you when we do have it. Have a look at Brave Gen. That's one of the suppliers that we're looking at the moment, but also we're looking at a Power BI. So if you're into the Microsoft world, that's where you sort of build apps within Microsoft and you're kind of paying for some of the development yourself, some of it's on the shelf. And that's what Christchurch Airport has got, and they're really happy to share that with us. But then Christchurch Airport are also scratching their heads now 4 or 5 years in and going, maybe we want to move from the Microsoft to another provider. So you can see how tricky this work is and this space is. You've got someone who's been using a software platform for 4 or 5 years and they're going, oh, maybe this doesn't. Because wouldn't it be wonderful if we had, so you might have seen the news, the airport got a carbon accreditation for our work in this space. I think we're at level 3. The top level is sort of in the world or in New Zealand is level 5. So we want to get there in a couple of years. But yeah, wouldn't it be great, even just in the airport sector, if we had all of the airports and they were all on the same dashboard. And you can go, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. And that ought to be just business as usual, right? That just should happen because we all want to transition.
And I guess the existential question is, why does the airport exist? So adding in the aviation emissions from the airlines and being able to show that, to create that sense of community like you mentioned. So working together with the airlines, with the travellers. So at the university, we're building a Power BI dashboard to be able to share with departments the impact of their air travel. And I'm the one saying, it's not saying don't fly, but it's saying be really mindful about it. So if we can connect up with the infrastructure providers, with the airlines, and that's when things start to hum.
Yeah, and there's it's a really interesting, and I know that you're all hungry and so forth. And I think there was a slide yesterday where domestic flights are only 3 or 4%, and I know that you're thinking, oh, he's going to say this. He's from an airport. He's an airport guy. But I think we do need to have those materiality questions, like thinking about as a society, okay, how much, if we're talking about cost of, so monetary cost of X number of tons of carbon reduction, right? Should we be focusing on, reducing that 3% or 4% of domestic, or should we be focusing on elsewhere because we're going to get a bigger bang for buck? Or, like what you're saying, is it just good to question those sorts of things anyway, and maybe I don't need to fly, maybe I can be online.